on every rally fan's calendar, yes, it's the dual Donegal International Rally. And in this programme, we feature the modifieds, the historics and the class winners.
Yes, indeed, it's the 2018 Jules Donegal International Rally and our second programme where we take a look at the classes outside the championship chasing R5 and World Rally cars, concentrating for the most part on the national or modified category.
130 down to 2 right 40, straight up 3 right tights to 4 right after opening.
There's over 150 entries into the main field and a host of cars and drivers make the three-day Donegal International one of the best and well-loved rallies in these Isles. And leading the National Series heading into the 20-stage event is the Toyota Corolla of Donegal driver Kevin Eves.
I think we have maybe a 2-point lead over John Boner, so listen here, Donegal's kind of its own war of its own, so we'll see how it goes.
We had 2 good runs there now, Cork and Killarney, so now try and keep it going now for Donegal, hopefully.
It's going to be a tough 3 days, and obviously we didn't get the weather now by this morning, but we'll just try and get through Friday and I'll be there Sunday, hopefully.
Ian Barrett from title sponsor Jules is also back to contest the Donegal Rally after a disappointing event last year that saw him retire as Darien with mechanical trouble on stage 1.
Look, the competition is savage and we'll just do our best, and if it's not good enough, it's not, and if it is, it is.
The stunning landscape of Donegal shrouded in mist with damp conditions greeting the competitors for the opening 6 stages on day 1, and that sees the crews leave the Mount Errigal Hotel before tackling stages at Brina, Cork Mountain and Letter League, with those stages repeated twice. And the leader of the national class after the opening 6 stages were Damien Tourish and Donald McElhenney in their Mark II Escort. Tourish is a local driver and he joked that he didn't even need the notes, such as his knowledge of his local roads, and no problems throughout the day apart from his soft tyres going off towards the end of both loops. He was also concerned about an engine noise towards the end of the day, however. Ian Barrett and Paul McGee said they had no major dramas on day 1, but found conditions very tricky, especially the first time over Cork Mountain. At the end of day 1 and 6 stages, the gap to Barrett and Tourish stood at a mere 0.3 of a second. Kevin Gallagher and Noel O'Sullivan were next in their Darien. Gallagher, another local man, and the top registered driver on the leaderboard, 40.8 seconds off Tourish. He had some worries about the alternator in his Darien, but he sorted that out of service and was happy with his run over the day 1 stages. Another steady run with no dramas for Gary McPhillips and James McNulty in their Escort, 14.9 seconds off Gallagher in 4th after 6 stages. Brian Brogan and David McGettigan are another local crew. Brogan indeed is chairman of the Donegal Motor Club, who also contested the Rally of the Lakes. Brogan said he found it tough to get into a rhythm in the tricky conditions, but happy to get through the opening day. A bad start though for Cavan's Gary Kiernan, who wasn't happy with his pace and confessed to a pathetic stage 2 where he stalled his Escort. Kiernan was happier with his second run over the loop and he slotted into 5th after day 1's 6 runs. Ryan Moore is his co-driver.
First hook, that 2 right up bump, go 200. Middle of the split crest, go 120 to 1 right. Then you care 100, 3 right over crest and tightens up the walls.
John O'Donnell had been 5th after 3 in his Escort, but he lost time on the second run over Cork Mountain and slipped out of the top 10 by the end of 6 special stages. Another Donegal driver is Mark Alcorn in the Mark II Escort. Alcorn doesn't have a good finishing record on his home event and was determined to rectify that. 4th after 3, he finished day 1 in 6th place. Jonathan Pringles, a former National Rally champion. He was happy with his performance so far, lying 7th in the national class. Adrian Hetherington, however, was not so happy. He felt he was making too many mistakes and was not happy with the handling of his Mark II. 8th overnight and 1 minute and 15 off the lead. Stuart Darcy had been going well in the national championships this year, but he felt his Darien wasn't set up right for his home rally, complaining that the car was bottoming out badly on the many jumps. He was 9th in modified after 6 stages. The defending champion and current modified leader Kevin Eves was very cautious through the opening stages as he felt his tyres were too hard. Also, he wasn't happy with his brakes on the front wheels, locking up too often for his liking. Chris Melly is Eves' navigator.
130 chicane, right entry, 3 bales. 40. 5 left, 100. 5 left, 100.
Fellow Donegal driver Kyle McGettigan needed to get a good result to get his championship back on track, but he would have been disappointed to be only 14th after 6 in his escort.
Two in the right there for fast 3, there's a fast 3. And left on best going after it, left on fast best 2. A flat one right, a flat one right again, keep forward, push to 2 left on best. Push 2 left on best, push 80.
Second to Eves in the championship is John Bonner, but he was only 17th in the Mark II. He'll need to improve if he's to capitalise on Eves' issues. Wesley Patterson was outside the top 20 in his escort.
It's day 2 of the Jules Donegal International Rally, and we're here on the beautiful Port Salin Beach up at the Knockalla stages. A disappointing start for our modified leader Damien Tourish. He has had to retire this morning, but that means that the Jewel man himself, Ian Barrett in the Darien, is our leader in the modified.
Saturday morning we'll see the crews traverse the Carnhill and Knockalla stages, then onto service and repeat the stages. In the afternoon it's Garton and Trenta. They're on the menu for the competitors again, those repeated with a service in between. Ian Barrett spent years spectating in Donegal, so to be leading on his first proper run over the stages was a dream come true. But it wasn't a dream start today too, though, for his Darien, as he thought he'd punctured when he hit a rock that had been pulled onto the stage after Robert Barrable's off in the R5 category. Barrett felt lucky not to puncture, but it shook his confidence, and he was not happy with the brake balance in his Darien, and he spun and collided with the chicane on stage 12 Trenta. Despite all of that, he led the Nationals after day 2 by 33.8 seconds. The Knockalla stage passes by Kevin Gallagher's home, but he was still pipped by Barrett on both runs. Gallagher was also held up by a slower car in stage 10 and lost a bit of time, but he was happy with his run other than that and was second to Barrett.
Still a good advantage on us, to be fair, but we'll keep going as nice and steady and see how we get on.
3, 2, 1, go.
Gary Kiernan felt he picked too soft a tyre for the opening loop on day 2, but fared better in the afternoon stages, and a good day's work saw him climb up to third after 14 stages, a minute and a half off Barrett's Darien.
3 left at the side, and 2 right tightens and 3 right past the post. And long holds, long 2 left over crest, push hold on it. 60 down to flat 1 right. 130 down to 2 right, 40, very long 3 right tightens and 4 right after the opening. 100.
7th after day 1, Jonathan Pringle worked his way up to third by stage 12, and he finished day 2 in 4th. No issues with the escort, and he was 7.7 seconds off Kiernan. Ryan Loughran was another one who was climbing through the ranks and was now up to 5th after day 2. After a disappointing day 1, Frank Kelly really worked hard and moved his way from 19th after stage 1 to lie 6th in the Nationals by the end of day 2. Brilliant hard driving from the Tyrone man. It was a mixed event for Adrian Hetherington. It seemed to be 1 step forward, 2 steps back as he struggled to maintain a rhythm. He was 7th in modified with 1 day remaining. Wasn't such a great morning either for the Donegal Motor Club chairman Brian Brogan as he slid into a field on stage 7, but he was able to restart with the help of spectators.
Brian, I think you took a bit of a detour this morning.
That's right, we bit of an excursion on the field this morning there, so took a while, lost 4 minutes on it, but we were lucky we got out, no wild damage, and a good crowd of spectators there that helped us now, so we'll get out time and get a run for it now, just go out and entertain a few people and see how it goes, hope for the best.
Things could have been worse though, and there was a number of retirements on day 2. Gary McPhillips pulled in with mechanical trouble on stage 10. Stuart Darcy got 1 stage further before the Donegal roads finally took their toll on his Darien. Vivian Hamill lasted until stage 13 before he too retired. Mark Alcorn's poor finishing record on his home rally continued when he crashed out on stage 10. Turning to the Group N or Showroom category now, it was a former national Group N champion, Aidan Ray, and co-driver Kieran McGrath, who led since stage 1. 40 seconds their advantage now after 14 stages.
2 Pass over jump bridge kick.
We're just trying to keep it clean and tidy now, maybe, and hopefully maintain the possession.
Forestry regular Catherine McCourt trailed Ray in another Mitsubishi Evo 10. Another former National Group N champion, Shane Maguire, held third in his older model Evo 9. The Donegal historic battle commenced on day 2, and leading the class by 1.1 second was the local crew of Martin and Dara Doherty in their Mark II. Andy Johnson and Jim McSherry were the leading championship registered crew. They were second in the Vauxhall Chevette. David Goose is an English farmer. He hasn't been rallying since the Killarney Historic 2017. His new co-driver is Darren Harvey, and the pair were going well in historics, but felt he got it wrong in the tyre choice on the morning stages. Ronan Campbell and Kieran McInespy were fourth in their Ford Escort Mark II. George Cullen and Tommy Hayes are also registered for the Historic Championship, but they've no scores so far, so they'll be glad to get some points on the board this weekend. Next through, the legend Jimmy McRae and co-driver Pauline Gillick, the overall winner in 1980, driving a Chevette.
Jimmy, you won this entire event back in 1980, and it's great to see you out in the historics today.
No, it's fantastic. You know, always the same atmosphere in Donegal. Thousands of people. You know, you can see the car park there. It's just unbelievable. It never changes.
So 14 stages down in this year's national category on the Donegal International Rally, and it's Ian Barrett who's got a 33.8 second lead from Kevin Gallagher. Behind them it's Gary Kiernan, Jonathan Pringle and Ryan Loughran.
The dual Donegal International Rally is a highlight on the rally calendar for the Irish Tarmac Rally Championship. This hectic 3-day event comes to a close tomorrow. Join us for more action after the break from day 3.
Welcome back to the 2018 Dual Donegal International Rally and the final 6 stages on the final day of this grueling 3-day event, round 4 of the Irish Tarmac Rally Championship. It's Ireland's biggest and longest rally, and one man who's been involved in the event for the last number of decades is Alan Plum Tyndall, whose RPM programme was one of the first to bring Irish rallying to our TV screens.
Plum, it's a bit mad to say this now, but the very first year that you put rallying on Irish television was the year I was born in 1985.
That's exactly it, and what a year it was, because the rally was won by 1 second by Billy Coleman from Austin McHale. It was absolutely sensational.
We also caught up with Donegal's James Cullen. He was the winner of the Donegal International Rally twice, 1991 and 1999.
A lot has changed, I suppose, since your rallying days.
I tell you, the stages haven't changed as much, and the quality of the drivers haven't changed that much. You know, the cars have changed. They've got a bit more, technology's moved on, different things but the battle's still the same, and still a very prestigious event to win.
And we have another former winner of the Donegal International Rally in our midst. Not just once though, 3 times, Cathal, you have won this event.
Yes, maybe you could put it down to luck rather than ability, maybe, but I suppose when you win it 3 times, it has to involve some degree of ability.
And with 14 stages down now, the remaining cars and crews head out to the north of Donegal for the remaining 6 stages. And we're going to see first how the leaders get on over the first 3 runs, stages 15 to 17. Ian Barrett continues to lead the Nationals after 14 in the Darien, but he stalled and lost 4 seconds on Fanad. He found Atlantic Drive very wet, and he was very cautious. Perhaps the nerves were creeping in. His lead now, with 3 to go, stood at 27.9 seconds. Kevin Gallagher was keeping the pressure on Ian Barrett, but having taken a little time on 15 and 16 to cut the gap to 22 seconds, he lost time, backing off a little on the Glen stage. Nothing to report from Gary Kiernan's point of view in the Mark II, still third after 14 stages. No chance of catching the 2 Darians, and a podium place looked to be his best option now.
One left, 40. 1 left up here, 40. Then a hold, long 2 left request. Then you have only 60 to clear 4 to request bump.
Jonathan Pringle dropped out of 4th on stage 17, elevating Ryan Loughran's Escort a minute off Kernan. Frank Kelly was now 5th in the escort after 17 stages, 20.5 seconds off Loughran. Could he put in a late charge over the last 3 runs? Adrian Hetherington punctured on stage 15 and slid wide, clipping a bank. He then retired with mechanical damage. Kyle McGettigan then got through the debris left behind by Adrian Hetherington unscathed. In the battle for the National Championship honours, John Bonner was really pushing now. He got ahead of the ailing Corolla of Kevin Eves, up to 7th in the Ford Escort. It's a dreadful Donegal for Kevin Eves, who spun the Toyota on stage 16 as his issues with the car continued. Eves, uncharacteristically, just wasn't on it, and the car wasn't playing ball either.
Settle. 6 left, 6 right continues. 6 left and right continues. 150. Left on big crest jump 100. Left on big crest jump 100.
As ever, there was a massive local contingent at the Donegal International Rally, and here are some of the best bits over the 3 demanding days. And as the big crowds gather for the final 3 stages, let's have a look now at the individual class winners ahead of the battle for the national overall. Class 2 winners:
a Ford Fiesta R2 driven by Stephen Carey and Nicole Roycroft.
Class 3 winners: Chris Boyce and Pascal Dillon in the Honda Civic. Class 4 winners: Aidan Ray and Kieran McGrath in the Evo 10, and also the Group N winners. The Class 9 victors: Conor Harvey and Timmy Lunn from County Donegal in their Opel Corsa. The winners of Class 10, Eamon McLaughlin and Stephen Boyle from Derry in a Vauxhall Nova. On to Class 11F, the victors: Kevin McLaughlin and Danny McLaughlin from Donegal in the Honda Civic. Class 11R, also another Donegal crew: Sean Herity and Gary Lockhart in a Toyota Corolla. On to Class 12, the winners from County Meath: James Cassidy and Jane Collins in their Mark II Ford Escort. Class 13, 7th was J.R. McDade and Keith Curley from Donegal in the Ford Escort Mark II. J.R. is now 3rd in the Modified Championship. 3rd in Class 13, Tommy O'Connell and James Wedlock from Derry in the Ford Escort. Columbia Heena and Derek Heena from County Donegal in a Toyota Corolla was 2nd in Class 13. And Johnny Jordan took the overall win in Class 13 in a Toyota Starlet. The visiting crew from Scotland, Jim and Charlotte McDowell, won Class 15 in their Subaru. Class 20 victors: Michael Carbon and Conor Moan from County Monaghan in the Mitsubishi Evo 4. Victors in Class 22, Ashley Dixon and Graham Henderson from Tyrone in a Mitsubishi Evo 9. The junior contest in Donegal got underway on day 3, and there was a tit-for-tat battle for the top spot, with Jason Black just about holding sway, just 1.9 seconds ahead in the end in a Toyota Starlet. Just 1.9 seconds off Black was the former Group N Forest champion Jordan Hone, who was continuing to impress after changing to an Opel Adam R2 for an attack on the junior class.
40, right over flat crest, 40, 3 right minus, in over bumps, 60.
It's a positive Donegal experience when you're driving over the ramp knowing you've picked up maximum points.
Yeah, no, we had a good day now. We had a good race with all our juniors, and now we had 3 good stages and are done twice now, but we enjoyed them.
3rd, Aaron McIntyre and Ben McIntyre in the Toyota Starlet. Sixth home, Derry Long and Declan Casey in a Honda Civic. Derry now second in the Junior Championship behind the absent Gary McNamee. On to historics, Ronald Campbell took third in a Ford Escort. Second, Andy Johnson, the top registered driver in the historics, in his Vauxhall Chevette.
Really good rally, so it was, as always. Mixed weather and fantastic stages and great fun.
And Martin Doherty and Darren Doherty won historics in the Ford Escort Mark II quite comfortably in the end. The winning margin 2 minutes and 20 seconds. And finally back to the Nationals, and there was a few high-profile retirements in the final loop. John O'Donnell overshot at Glen Village and eventually pulled his Escort out of the event. Jonathan Pringle, safely inside the top 10 modified at one point, rolled out on stage 17. And Brian Brogan just couldn't get his Escort home. He was out on stage 18. And so to the top 8 in the national class on this year's Donegal International Rally. Well, he finally got it home and he retained his championship lead. 8th, Kevin Eves in the Toyota Corolla. 7th, John Bonner and Leon Jordan in the Ford Escort Mark II. In 6th place, Kyle and Dale McGettigan, also second home of the registered drivers in this year's national or modified category. In 5th place, Frank Kelly and Sean Ferris in the Ford Escort Mark II. In 4th place, Ryan Loughran and Gareth Doherty in a Ford Escort. Gary Kiernan was third home, along with Ryan Moore in the Ford Escort Mark II. Kiernan won the Den Motorsport Mark II trophy for the top Mark II crew. Second, and the leading championship points winner, Kevin Gallagher and Noel O'Sullivan in the Darien T90. But the overall winner, the delighted Ian Barrett and Paul McGee in the Darien T90. His overall winning margin, 27.3 seconds.
Such a long event, and I've been coming for years and years and years, and always watched my uncle do it, and my dad's been rallying years ago as well, so this is the pinnacle for what we do, and we put in a massive effort this week, and it's paid off, so I'm delighted.
So, to his delight, Ian Barrett takes victory on this year's Donegal International Rally on the national category in the Darien T90. Second, Kevin Gallagher ahead of Gary Kiernan, Ryan Loughran and Frank Kelly. Despite an indifferent Donegal rally, Kevin Eves still leads the national category by 44 points to John Bonner's 41. J.O. McDade is third, with Jason Roach in 4th place ahead of Stephen Vaughan, ahead of the Ulster Rally, the next round of the series.
A fantastic drive by Ian Barrett all weekend, and he has taken the national win. What a welcome at the Mount Donegal Hotel. The celebrations will no doubt go on into the early hours. Well, that's it from myself and the rest of the On The Limit Sports crew from this dual Donegal International Rally. We'll see you next time.